Know your place. Seek my attention at your peril. Your limitations will be your downfall. Don't worry, I'm not finished yet.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Camille today. It is another late game scaling split pusher that also does well in teamfights. Her passive: when you auto attack an enemy champion, then you can either get a shield against physical damage or magic damage depending on their damage type. You start off with a W level 1 here, and it deals damage in a cone in front of you, and if you hit people at the edge, then it deals more damage. It also slows people and it also heals you. So before you use this ability level 1 guys, try to trade with the enemy champion so you both lose some HP, and then you use the W so you can heal back the damage, and the enemy champion is going to lose a lot of health. And this is kind of how you want to trade, and also really make use of that grasp guys, because the reason you run grasp of the Undying on Camille is because she has a very weak early game. So when you run grasp and ignite as well, then your early game also becomes strong. Her late game is insanely strong, but she just needs to go through the early stages. Your E is the hook shot, so it has like two casts. The first cast makes you hook towards the wall, and then the second part gives you increased range if you dash towards an enemy champion. When you hit them, they get CC'd, and you also get some temporary bonus attack speed. Very important that you hit people with the second part of this ability guys, because that's kind of your engage, and that's long range engage because you get like some extra dash range if you use it towards enemy champions. Your Q is what Camille is known for. It can be used twice, and both parts works as an auto attack reset. The first part gives you some bonus attack range, also deals bonus damage, and then gives you a short burst of movement speed as well. And then the second part, if you use it after a short delay, the damage will be doubled and it will be dealt as true damage. So right now it does not deal 100% true damage. That's going to happen when you hit level 16. That's why all of the damage on the second part of your Q gets converted into true damage. So that's kind of where she has the Cho'Gath ultimate on her Q. Now something really important here is that when you have Sheen, it works with a Q. So it's super important that when you fight from now on, as soon as you have the Sheen, very important that you convert that into true damage. So keep an eye on the cooldown of your Sheen, and then use the second part of your Q when it's ready. Because then you convert all of that extra damage you get from the Sheen into true damage. So that's why Camille becomes really strong. Also, as soon as you have your E up guys, hug the walls. Stay close to the walls because you can speed up the animation. Because you're gonna speed up the first part of the E because you stay next to the wall, so you speed up the animation a lot, and it makes it really hard for the enemy champion to react to, because it means that this ability comes up almost instantly when you use it on an enemy champion, because you speed it up. So it's very hard to dodge as well, extremely hard to see that coming. In the early game, you don't have to use the second part of your Q as true damage, especially not when you just want to get the damage off instantly, because it works as an auto attack reset. So you can use it to get quick grasp of the Undying procs off, and then disengage. So the reason why I use grasp of the Undying and ignite on Camille, as I said early on, is because it helps you get through the early laning phase. She's very strong in the mid and late game. The problem with Camille is her early game, and when you have grasp as well as ignite, then even her early game becomes really strong. Now Camille is like, unlike other split pushers who are mainly strong in the silence and then a bit weak in teamfights, Camille is very strong in the silence, and she's also strong in teamfights because of her ability to shut down people with ultimate. She also has long range engages, so she can easily reach the backline and shut somebody down with the ultimate. But your normal way of fighting people is that you engage with E once the second part of your Q is ready. Hit them with a Q and then you just disengage until they're low enough for you to like go all in. So now we got the ultimate up. That is also something Camille is known for. So when you use it on an enemy champion, you are going to isolate them. So every other enemy is going to get knocked away. And then the enemy champion will be stuck inside this field here and they will not be able to escape it. They cannot flash away, they cannot dash away or anything. The only way they can escape it is if you die or if they knock you out of the ultimate. Otherwise, they had to wait until it expires, so it's very good for setting up your jungler, for example, or people in team fights. It's going to completely shut them down, and then when you use it, your auto attacks also deals bonus damage based on their current health. So this is like the ultimate all-in ability. You can guarantee that no one is going to escape once they're caught in this ability, so it's very good for shutting people down. And because it also knocks other enemies away, except for the main target, then it's also very good for isolating the target as well. And you can see how fast that E comes out when you hug the walls. That's why it's very important to do, because if you don't do so and use that E from a distance, then the enemy champion can see it coming and then they will be able to dodge it as well. So since this ultimate is ready, you don't want to waste it though, because it does not last that long at level 1. So you want to save it until you are ready for an all-in or when your jungler comes. Because it's pretty much a guaranteed kill if your jungler comes, since the enemy champion is not able to escape the ultimate. As I said, they're not able to flash away or anything. They're gonna be stuck inside it, and that should allow your jungler to get the damage off and get the kill as well. So make sure that you do not waste this ultimate because of how impactful it is. You can roam as soon as you have it. If you're not able to lane in the top lane, if you get countered really hard or if you're losing lane, then you can also just roam. Because Camille has the mobility and she also has the ability to shut down anyone. So the mythic item, Divine Thunder, of course, the most built mythic item on Camille in high elo because of the synergy with the Q and the Sheen and the bonus damage you get from that item as well. So it has great synergy, and of course it also makes you a lot tankier, so it's harder to burst down. Remember to make sure that you use that Q as an auto attack reset as well. So always get like one auto attack in and then Q and then the second auto attack in and then immediately Q afterwards. This is how you want to engage with the ultimate. Unfortunately, Evelyn did not have her ultimate up here, so we lost the fight. But this is how you want to engage with the ult. So you can like E in, hit someone with that second part of your E so they get CC'd, get one Q in guys, and then you ult, and then by the time they're stuck inside that ultimate, then your second Q will be ready, so get that true damage part off. That's like a guaranteed way of getting your damage off. There's also a very easy way of getting the second part of your damage off. Second part of your Q is that you Q a minion, and then you hug the walls, and then you get an instant E off, hit them with a true damage part of your Q, and then just disengage. That's how you go for those short trades. But also be extremely careful. Camille is weak early on. She is not as weak when you have Grasp and Ignite of course, but it means that you don't have Flash up. Because of her mobility, her E, like covering such a massive distance, you don't really need the flash, but it still means that if you use that E for engages and you get ganked, then you are most likely dead unless you're like super fit. So I took a trade with the Riven right here because she teleported. So we take some of her health and then we're gonna get the mythic item and then we can TP back in and then we already have a advantage. That's also something you can do. You know, even if it's a bad trade, just trade with your opponent. If they teleport in, take some of the HP, and then you're gonna teleport back anyways, and then that should already give you a big advantage. On Camille, you can go for anyone in a fight, but usually you want to go for the squishy targets, you know, the priority champions. Most of the time, the AD carry or the mid laner, because you can shut anyone down and they will not be able to escape your ultimate because of how it works. Then you can easily shut down the main target on the enemy team. So whoever's fed, it could be the enemy jungler. If they have like a fit Kha'Zix, then you can ult him. And then all of your teammates can like collapse onto him and get the free shutdown. Just keep pushing in the top lane. So like for the attack speed chart I'm using, I like to use this one when we go Divine Sunderer because we don't have any attack speed. But if you're going for something like a Trinity Force, then you already get a lot of attack speed. So I can just use 2 Adaptive Force. And it's mainly to like make your auto attack smoother, because if you don't have any attack speed at all, then it can feel a bit awkward weaving in those auto attacks as well. So that's why like 1 attack speed chart really helps you out a lot. So that's something you can use, especially if you're new to Camille or if you're just looking to get a little bit of attack speed when you go for this build, because you don't get any attack speed items, so this 1 shard can really help you out a lot. Camille is a split pusher, so even in the mid game or the late game, you stay in the silence. When you have the teleport up, then you can easily help out your teammates, but when you don't, then you do have to be a bit careful, especially if there's an objective coming up that you think that people will be fighting for, then you have to be there in advance. Because your teammates in solo queue, they will always get caught somehow. You cannot trust them. So you have to predict these things happening in advance, and then you have to move before the fight actually happens. Also, that Q of course also works on the towers when you have the Sheen as well. Make sure to abuse that as well. When going for the towers, really make sure that you also get that auto attack reset off so you can get the damage off insanely fast. It's going to deal a lot of damage to the towers with the Sheen and the Q resets. So in order to push it really fast, make sure that you abuse that. Keep split pushing in the silence. Camille is the champion that can easily 1 versus 2 as soon as she has the core items. You have the Divine Sunderer, and then you also have the Hydra, and that's why you have a lot of sustain, a lot of damage as well, and also tankiness, so much harder to shut you down. That was a single engage, and she already lost most of her health. This is what Camille does. If you farm up, get the items you need, you will easily be able to carry the game. Remember that your E does give you bonus distance, bonus traveling distance if you use it towards an enemy champion. So make sure that's how you use it, but of course when you escape, then you don't get to cover that big of a distance, otherwise that would be kind of broken. But even though she did get nerfed this season, she's still very strong. Like, she's still really strong, so definitely a good champion to pick up in the top lane if you're looking for a late game skilling split pusher with true damage that can also do well in team fights, because that is not something most split pushers can do. They're typically very strong in the silence, but they are much weaker in team fights. That's for example something like a Fiora, Tryndamere for example. But Camille, very strong in the silence, but also very strong as a team fighter. And this is because of her ability to engage from a long distance, and also that ultimate that can easily shut down someone. First part of your Q, of course, giving you that bonus movement speed, so even if you don't have that E up, you can still chase down people. So when you chase people, make sure you hit something with a Q. In this case, Sarah used the plant, so I can like Q those, so I could catch up to her. Now we got the Hydra as well. This is the big power spike on Camille. You got the 2-item spike, and then you also have the boots. You're gonna absolutely destroy most champions in the game, especially if it's a squishy. Like an AD carry, you don't even need the ultimate, because your Q is going to hit like a nuke at this point. And once you hit level 16, that's where 100% of the damage from the second part of your Q will be turned into true damage. Just keep pushing in the silence. Towers are down, of course. You really want to abuse your power, you know, split pushing powers, and then you can always TP in if something happens. This also allows you to take down wards really fast because of the Q resets. So like if you see somebody placing down a ward level 1, and if you are there, then you can easily get the ward if you reset your Q instantly twice. Just went ahead and ulted the Riven. It might be a waste of the ultimate, but at the same time she's also very mobile, so we don't really want to waste any more time chasing her. And because I'm this fed, then it's not like I'm losing out on a lot. That's also a nice way of catching the opponent when they're resetting, because you don't need vision on that E for it to work. Also why the sweeper is really good when you're ahead, because you can scout for wards and you can also see enemy champions or whoever is camping in the brush or behind it. That true damage part on your Q is going to be even more insane in 4 levels. That's why it kind of becomes a Cho'Gath ultimate in itself, because of the amount of true damage that you can deal with it. Because it does have really good scaling as well, and as you get those 80 items, it's going to get a lot better. And on Camille, you of course want to build 80 items. You build Bruce items, giving a lot of AD and tankiness as well. Therak's Gauge, such a crucial item for those bruisers and fighters in the top lane, because you have a lot of damage before you get this item, but you don't have the same tankiness. As soon as you have this item completed, that's why you become extremely tanky. So even if people have focused you down, you're still going to be so hard to take down, like really hard, and AD carries simply do not have the damage at this point to deal with you. Zero counterplay to true damage. You can of course build health, that's the only counterplay normally against true damage, but that is not something AD carries really built this early on in the game. So they're gonna get a one shot at this point, guys, as soon as you hit them with a full combo. You can also do that E flash combo to like extend the range of that E, used to catch people off guard. If you know they have some kind of movement ability up, or if they have summoners up, then you can use that if you think that you'll be able to kill them in a single rotation. I'm not wasting any time on this game, even though my teammates are pushing mid. I still split push as much as possible, because that's really how you maintain that CS and XP lead. If you keep grouping with your teammates, then you're gonna fall behind, and that's how you end up falling behind in XP compared to the enemy top laner. Need a bit more gold for the Therak's Gauge. That's going to be the ultimate power spike. You have all the damage you need actually, but you also need the tankiness. And that is exactly what you're going to get as soon as you have the Therak's Gauge. Look at that insane Q damage. Impossible to deal with. It does not matter what the opponent is building, because it's true damage, so you're still gonna shred them anyways. And that's why Camille has been such a strong champion for more than a year. The ultimate of course also makes you untargetable, so you don't always have to use it like to only engage. You can also use it to dodge crucial abilities that are coming towards you. So don't only use it for engaging, but also use it to keep yourself alive. So like, if they focus you down with a lot of CC, then you can kind of use your ultimate to dodge it with, if you don't have your E up. And even if you do have your E up, then it is a bit delayed compared to your ultimate, so you can always use your ultimate first if you have to. If it is going to keep you alive, then definitely go for it. And because of the AoE damage from the Hydra, we also have some wave clear now. That is something Camille does not have normally, that's why this item is even more important. On top of the AD and sustain you're getting, you also get that much needed wave clear. So at this point you kind of have everything that people need from a top laner and even more because of our ability to shut down people in fights. Just keep split pushing in the side lane. Even if you don't have teleport up, if you don't have it up, then of course make sure that you watch the minimap. You should be doing that at all times, but it's even more important when you don't have a teleport up. Because then you can see when something is about to happen, and then most of the time you'll be able to move before it does. Unfortunately it did end up dying right here, and that's because I greeted for that kill, which I did not have to. That is of course not worth it when I had that many kills, so of course also I have a massive gold bounty that I just gave away for no reason. But yeah, I like to limit test a lot, and that can be really good to do if you're learning a new champion, because you get to learn exactly what the limits are in terms of damage, what they can go for, dives, mobility and so on. So really limit test a lot when you play those new champions, so you can learn the exact damage output, because the opponent will never expect it, and things that you know, like you might know that this, even though he's like 70% HP, that you can tower dive him, but the opponent will not know it, because they don't know the limits of your champion unless they play it themselves. That's why it's really important that if you pick up something like Camille, who's pretty difficult to master, you put in a lot of games to really learn the maximum damage output. Because that is what's going to allow you to do much better in the landing phase, team fights, split pushing and so on. And in the end, of course, give you that victory for that free LP. Pushing down the objectives, we got the Baron as well, going straight for the Dragon. And the game is pretty much over at this point because we have this big of a lead. Camille's very easy to carry with as soon as you get into the mid to late game. The main problem is the early game, and that's what you have to learn to play around. And because of Grasp of the Undying and Ignite, then her early game is also a lot easier than what it would normally be if you played with, for example, Conqueror, which is also really strong, but he doesn't need the extra damage. Like, her prio is to get through the early game, and Grasp helps you doing that, so there's no reason to go Conqueror, but you can still use it. Especially if you're in an easy lane where you can scale up anyways, then of course go for Conqueror, because it scales up a lot better. But the main reason for Grasp is to help you get through that weak early stage. But this was how to play Camille. Of course, I hope this was helpful, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching, and see y'all in the next one.